Okay, so we already know, we learned last module, how to find the length of segments where they actually meet inside the circle. Remember, we saw 15 through 18. Remember how we did those. But what happens if the segments actually meet outside of the circle? So let's take a look at that. We're going to solve for x. We're going to assume the lines which appear tangent are actually tangent. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at one segment. I'm going to take a look at this thing. This is how we're going to work this. First of all, I see how much is outside of the circle. 12, okay? So I'm going to write 12. And I'm going to multiply this by how big is the whole segment. I see part of it is 12, and I see part of it is x. How much is the whole thing? I'm going to call it 12 plus x. Not 12x, because I'm not multiplying, I'm adding 12 plus x. Okay, so I saw that segment. Now with blue, let me take a look at the other segment. First of all, I think how much is outside of the circle? I'm looking at this segment right here. How much is outside of the circle? Well, 18 times. How much is the whole thing? How much is the entire segment? Well, 18. The entire segment is outside of the circle. And that's it. Remember that the way I was looking at each of these, the first number is how much is outside of the circle. My second number is how much is the entire segment, right? The whole thing. All right, now the rest looks like algebra. I'm gonna distribute the 12. So 12 times 12 is 144. 12 times x gives me 12x equals 18 times 18 is 324. I want the 12x by itself, so there's 144. I want to get rid of it. I'm going to move it to the other side, but I got to switch the sign. So let me switch this a minus 144. So that gives me that 12x is equal to 180, right? 324 minus 144 is 180. Now to solve for x, let me divide by 12. And I get that x is equal to 15. All right, that's not bad. Take a look at number 20. I'm going to look at the segment that has x. So I'm looking at this segment. I see outside of the circle 7, and then the whole thing is 7 plus x. So outside of the circle is 7. The whole thing is 7 plus x. Now let me take a look at the other segment. I see part of it is 15, part of it is 6. So I ask myself, outside of the circle is 6. How big is the entire thing? 21. Yeah, I could have written as 6 plus 15, but I'm just going to call it 21, right? 6 plus 15 is 21. Okay. I'm going to look at this as a simple algebra question. Let me distribute the 7. So 7 times 7 gives me 49. Plus 7 times x gives me 7x. 6 times 21 is 126. I want the 7x by itself, so there's 49. I move it over as a minus 49. Don't forget to switch the sign. So I get that 7x equals 126 minus 49 is 77. Now let me divide by the number in front of x. I'm going to get that x is equal to 11. Pretty simple, right? Take a look at a couple more examples. Number 21. I'm looking at the segment that has x. Part of it is x, outside of the circle is 7. So then I ask myself, how much is outside of the circle? 7. How much is the whole thing? X plus 7. Then I take a look at the older segment. Part of it is 13, part of it is 8. Okay, how much is outside of the circle? 8. How much is the whole thing? I can write 13 plus 8, or I can just call it 21. Now, let me do this as a simple algebra question. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times 7 is 49. 8 times 21 is 168. I want to get rid of this positive 49. I'm going to move it to the other side. Don't forget to switch the sign. So it's minus 49. So that gives me that 7x equals 168 minus 49. That is 119. Now let me divide by 7. 119 divided by 7 is 17. Okay, hopefully you guys are getting the idea. Let's take a look at number 22. Let me see the segment that has x. Outside of the circle is 4, and part of it is x. So then I go 4, because that's how much is outside of the circle. The whole thing is 4 plus x. Then I take a look at the other segment. Part of it is 5, part of it is 3. Outside of the circle is 5. The whole thing is 8. Or I can call it 5 plus 3 or just 8. Okay. Let me distribute the 4. So that gives me 16 plus 4x equals 5 times 8 is 40. This positive 16, let me move it over as a minus 16. Don't forget to switch the sign. So that gives me that 4x is equal to 24. Now let me divide by the number in front of x. So x equals 6. There you go.